In 1989, a piece of land surrounding Tokyo's Imperial Palace was reportedly worth more than all the real estate in California. Japan was so rich that companies stopped asking, "Will this make money?" and started asking, "What is the most insane thing we can build?" This was the Japanese bubble era, a time when money had no limits, engineers had unlimited freedom, and technology was pushed decades ahead of its time. But when the bubble exploded, many of these futuristic creations disappeared forever. Today, when people think about Japanese technology, they imagine bullet trains, robots, gaming consoles, and ultra-efficient engineering. But there was another Japan. A Japan that existed between the late 1980s and early 1990s. A Japan overflowing with confidence. A Japan where banks were willing to fund almost anything. Companies had massive research budgets, and engineers were encouraged to chase ideas that seemed impossible. This was the Japanese asset bubble. During this period, Japan became the second largest economy in the world, and its companies seemed unstoppable. The stock market was exploding. Real estate prices reached unbelievable levels. The famous Nikkei stock index nearly tripled during the second half of the 1980s. Japanese corporations had so much cash that they were buying buildings, Hollywood studios, golf courses, and companies around the world. But the most fascinating part wasn't what Japan bought. It was what Japan built. Because when a country has unlimited money and unlimited confidence, engineers start creating things that normal markets would never allow. Technology became less about solving immediate problems and more about creating the most advanced, luxurious, and futuristic version possible. The result was a golden age of experimentation. Some inventions became global standards, others became forgotten ghosts of a future that never arrived. These were the technologies buried by the bubble. In 1990, Mazda released a car that looked like it came from the future. The Cosmo was not just a luxury sports car, it was a technology showcase. At a time when most cars still had basic dashboards, the Cosmo featured a digital display, advanced electronics, premium sound systems, and something almost unbelievable: a factory-installed GPS navigation system. Remember, this was 1990. There was no Google Maps, no smartphones, no Apple CarPlay. Most people were still using paper maps. But inside this Japanese luxury coupe was a screen showing digital maps and providing navigation guidance. The technology was extremely expensive and primitive by today's standards. The display was a small color CRT screen. The maps were limited. The system depended on early satellite technology, but the idea was revolutionary. Mazda wasn't just building a car. They were imagining a future where vehicles became intelligent computers on wheels. The Cosmo also came with another example of bubble-era madness: a 3-rotor rotary engine. Mazda spent years perfecting this unusual technology because the company believed it represented the future of performance engineering. This was the mindset of the bubble era. Companies were not simply asking, "Is this practical?" They were asking, "Can we make something nobody else has ever seen?" The problem? The world wasn't ready. After the bubble burst, expensive technology projects became harder to justify. Consumers wanted affordable, reliable cars, not experimental luxury machines. The Cosmo disappeared, but the idea survived. Today, every modern car with navigation, digital dashboards, and connected services is living inside the future that Mazda imagined decades earlier. Before Spotify, before wireless earbuds, before streaming, Japan believed the future of music was physical perfection. During the bubble era, companies like Sony pushed audio technology to unbelievable levels. This was the age of digital audio tape, MiniDisc, high-end cassette decks, portable digital players. Japanese engineers weren't simply making music devices, they were creating machines designed like luxury watches. Some cassette players used expensive materials, advanced motors, and multiple layers of noise reduction. Companies competed over tiny improvements in sound quality. A machine costing thousands of dollars could reproduce music with incredible accuracy. Then, Sony introduced something even more ambitious, the MiniDisc. Released in the early 1990s, it was a tiny digital disc that allowed users to record, edit, and organize music. In many ways, it was years ahead. You could create playlists, you could edit tracks, you could carry hundreds of songs in your pocket. It was almost a preview of the digital music future, but the timing was wrong. The world wanted simplicity. Then came MP3. Suddenly, music wasn't about owning a perfect physical format. It was about convenience. Millions of songs became files. The iPod arrived, streaming followed, and Japan's beautifully engineered audio formats became niche products. But the legacy remains. Many of today's high-end audio technologies still rely on Japanese engineering. The bubble era proved something important. Japan could perfect technology, but perfection alone does not guarantee victory. Today, smartphones feel revolutionary, but Japan was already experimenting with pocket computers decades earlier. One of the best examples was Sharp's Zaurus PDA series. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Zaurus devices were basically miniature computers. They had touchscreens, keyboards, expandable storage, email, web browsing, productivity software, even Linux operating systems. These devices were incredibly advanced. At a time when many people were still using simple mobile phones, Japan was already building pocket computers. The problem? The world wasn't ready. The devices were expensive, the software ecosystem was limited, and companies focused more on hardware than creating a global platform. Then Apple arrived with the iPhone in 2007. The iPhone was not necessarily the first touchscreen smartphone. Japan had done many of those things already. But Apple understood something Japan struggled with. Technology has to feel simple. The iPhone combined many existing ideas into one easy experience. Sharp had pieces of the future. Apple packaged the future. And packaging won. During the bubble era, Japan was already obsessed with robots. Not just factory robots, personal robots, entertainment robots, home assistants, machines designed to interact with humans. Companies created prototypes that could talk, move, and respond. At the time, many people considered these projects unrealistic. Why build a robot for a home? Why create machines that imitate human behavior? But decades later, the world started asking the same questions. Today, Japan is one of the global leaders in elder care robots, industrial automation, human-machine interaction. The bubble era planted these ideas early. But the technology was not mature. The computers were too weak. The batteries were limited. Artificial intelligence was nowhere near today's level. So many projects disappeared, but they were not pointless. They were experiments. They were engineers looking decades ahead. Perhaps the most successful legacy of the bubble era was not flashy. It was the transformation of everyday objects. Japanese companies began adding technology to ordinary life. Toilets became intelligent. Rice cookers became computerized. Home appliances gained sensors and automatic controls. The famous Japanese washlet toilet is a perfect example. During the bubble era, companies added features that seemed excessive. Heated seats, adjustable water pressure, automatic cleaning, sound masking, remote controls. To outsiders, these features looked ridiculous. But Japan saw something different. Technology did not have to be about giant machines. It could improve tiny daily experiences. Today, smart homes, connected appliances, and premium bathroom technology are becoming global trends. The bubble era simply imagined them earlier. The answer came in 1991. The bubble burst. The Japanese stock market crashed. Real estate values collapsed. Banks were left with enormous debts. The endless money disappeared almost overnight. Companies that once funded experimental projects became cautious. Risk-taking slowed. Instead of asking, what can we invent? Companies started asking, how can we survive? This changed Japanese technology forever. The country remained brilliant at engineering, but the era of unlimited experimentation was over. Many ambitious projects were canceled. Many futuristic ideas were abandoned. They became technology fossils. Reminders of a moment when Japan believed anything was possible. But calling these inventions failures would be wrong, because many of these ideas eventually became normal. GPS navigation, digital music, smart appliances, connected devices, mobile computing, robotics. Japan often saw these futures first. The problem was not imagination. The problem was timing. The bubble allowed Japan to build tomorrow before tomorrow was ready. But when the financial foundation disappeared, many of those ideas were buried. The world later rediscovered them through companies like Apple, Google, and Tesla. The Japanese bubble era was a strange moment in history. It was excessive, it was unrealistic, and eventually it collapsed. But hidden inside that madness was something incredible. A generation of engineers who were given permission to dream without limits. They built cars with futuristic computers. They created music technology before the world wanted it. They imagined smartphones before smartphones existed. They built robots before artificial intelligence was powerful enough. These inventions were not failures. They were glimpses of the future. The bubble simply ended before the world caught up. Japan didn't waste its wealth. It used it to explore possibilities. And even decades later, many of those forgotten experiments are quietly returning in new forms. Because sometimes the most important inventions are not the ones that immediately succeed. Sometimes they're the ones that arrive too early. If Japan's forgotten technology surprised you, let me know in the comments which invention you think was the most ahead of its time. Was it the futuristic cars, the digital audio revolution, or the early smartphone ideas? And if you enjoy discovering the hidden stories behind technology, innovation, and the inventions that shaped our world, make sure to subscribe. More unbelievable tech stories are coming.